Senator Vance has said just about that on CNN today. American media totally ignores this until Donald Trump and I began talking about cat memes, Liz, create stories so American media actually pays attention. But now we switched to geese. But there was one guy, a Haitian, who's not a Haitian, excuse me, who was helping two injured geese, and that was portrayed. So given that local officials, the city manager, the Ohio governor was a Republican, say there's nothing to this, is this a problem?
It's a huge problem, and here's why. It's way more than funny memes that many of us have laughed at. It has unleashed something really upsetting on Springfield. There have been bomb threats where elementary schools and hospitals, 2 hospitals yesterday, had to be on lockdown. There are some reports, and this just came up on that very show with J.D. Vance this morning that I was watching, that you did too, that the Proud Boys are now marching in there. And J.D. Vance, I thought this was interesting, said, "I decry all white supremacy," and he called the Proud Boys a bunch of losers. But he did then pivot and say what we should be talking about is the immigrant problem. It really took, Howie, the local media, the Columbus Dispatch, which is, by the way, right-leaning. I lived in Central Ohio for a long time. They dispelled the whole geese issue. And by the way, the first line in their article on the web was, "It is legal to shoot and hunt Canada geese." But this is a very serious situation, and you know, you've got a lot of people looking at it now. I think the cats and dogs at least are safe, and that is how much time we have. So thanks so much, Liz Klayman and Ben Domenech. Totally viral online, as you know, we talked about it earlier in the program, is Donald Trump saying in the debate about Springfield, Ohio, where thousands and thousands of Haitians have gone, that they're eating the dogs and eating the cats, and everybody's made these funny memes of terrified-looking animals. Do you now accept, based on what local officials say, that this is untrue?
Well, it's not up to me to decide that. This information came directly from the people of Springfield. You know, no one at our campaign, Donald Trump didn't make this up himself. You heard from people at a city council meeting, I believe, that they were very concerned about what's been going on. And I think it's a shame that people are trying to discredit the impact that the illegal immigration in this country has had on towns like Springfield, Ohio. I'll tell you what you can't discredit: the fact that a Venezuelan gang took over an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. You can't discount that Lake and Riley and Jocelyn Ngari's families will never talk to them again. You can't discount the fact that 300,000 Americans have died via fentanyl that has flowed into our southern border, over our southern border into this country under Kamala Harris's watch as borders are. You can't discount that there's 325,000 kids, Howie, who are just gone, who came over our southern border. No one has any accounting of them. There are real problems in this country right now, and it is as a direct result of the open border policies that Kamala Harris has presided over. She needs to answer for those questions as well and tell people why you've allowed this to happen.
Ohio, which people forget. They needed people to do jobs. They brought in people to do jobs. They asked people, Asian immigrants, to come to the town to do these jobs. More to say on that, but I want to keep talking to both of you guys. George, I always hate to ask people to get in the mind of Donald Trump. You are very good at getting in the mind of Donald Trump. I mean, what struck me about his behavior is it feels to me like, yes, sociopathic behavior, as you said, to quote you, but desperation. I mean, this feels like desperation. When he feels under attack, when he's behind, he behaves in this way. But how has this struck you in that regard, in terms of what it says about his mental state?
Well, he's reaching his final destination, which is complete decompensation. None of his tricks are working anymore. We're on to them. They don't excite anybody anymore. He's losing in the polls. He has to try to make things up. And his own vice presidential candidate on another network today basically said, we're making up stories in order to win this election. And, you know, it's not working for him, and he knows it. And he knows he's going down. And the more he feels that he's going down, remember, he's running not just for president, he's running from prison. You're going to see him engage in more and more desperate behavior. And that's what you see with I hate Taylor Swift, is he's just lashing out. And, you know, his people have lost control over him. And the only person who seems to have any control over him is the person who's telling him or whispering in his ear or doing something to tell him that everything's great, you're amazing, and that's Laura Loomer. And that's where he's This is the ultimate implosion, and we're watching it live, and it's going to get worse.
Laura Loomer, 9/11 truther that he brings with him to a 9/11 memorial, which is that it's itself crazy. So let me ask him, I mean, he is self-combusting himself, as George just said. If you're the Harris team, I mean, the vice president had a great moment last night where she kind of talked about the concepts of a plan. What do you do with all of this? I mean, do you talk about it? Do you touch it? Do you let other people do it, or you run a different game?
I think you do a combination of all of it. You know, I think one of the greatest things about the DNC is that most people realized how deep our bench is. Listen, the only people that will show up to a rally are the Trump people. Like, they only will show up for him. But when it comes to Kamala Harris, she can send us anywhere. And so we can go on the news and we can talk and make fun of him. We can go on social media and do our thing. But she also knows how to remind people of who he is, not by trying to characterize him herself, but actually using his words. And I think that that's what's really upsetting to him, right? She's using his words of concepts of a plan, and she's mocking him, just like we took over the black job rhetoric. You're right. We do have black jobs. It's to go vote in November and make sure that this guy doesn't make it back in. So we are all taking his words and flipping them on him. You know, it is sad because as I think about the debate, one of the things that she's not talked about, again, very much that I've seen is the fact that he doubled down on the Central Park Five. And as people are talking about black men and whether or not black men are going over to the Trump camp, I thought for sure that he would better navigate the Central Park Five, and he would anticipate having to deal with that, as well as his racist actions as it relates to renting or deciding not to rent to people of color. But instead, he doubled down, and we know that these black and brown men were exonerated and paid over $40 million. Yet he still would not retract what he said. But that's why you will have somebody in a hood go to Connecticut for the purpose of a Trump rally. That's who he caters to.
Listen, I'm so grateful to have both of you quiet wallflowers with me kicking off the show today. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Crockett, George Conway, for breaking down what has been a horrible story that's a part of a pattern all week.
People we love. You know, Steve's a great guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance continues to push false claims, these lies about Haitian migrants who are abducting and eating pets in Springfield, Ohio.
But let's just say this, though.
No.
He is lying, but he's admitting that he's lying.
Well, that's true.
Do you get extra credit for that? Or maybe
I thought you were going to make a joke.
Credit?
And I have to say,
I don't know. I'm not making jokes.
Funny,
I'm not making jokes when people's lives are at danger.
That's your damn right.
Yeah, so he's lying, but he's admitting that he's lying.
Right.
He's like, look,
he's transparent.
Look, I'm distracting you here, but it's really the ball's over here.
He believes in transparency.
Yeah, here it is.
The senator from Ohio claimed yesterday in a series of interviews that constituents in Springfield have brought the concerns to him when pressed that there is no evidence of people eating pets. Vance appeared to confess that he knows the claims are
not true.
Not true.
Yeah, but let's say though, when we say that officials say there aren't any claims, the only officials that are claiming these claims aren't true are all the officials that would know whether they were true or not.
Right.
The mayor has come out and said not true. City manager, I believe it's what they're called in Springfield, says not true.
People begging for this to stop.
And the Republican governor saying these claims are not true. Now religious leaders saying, please stop lying. You are putting people's lives in danger.
So where do they come from?
I don't know. Let's see.
American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to, create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
So Reverend Al, J.D. Vance says, this is special. J.D. Vance says, if the American media wouldn't cover this story,
I have
So they had to make up the story.
If I have to,
we're supposed to cover a story that's not true. The American media wouldn't cover this story, so he said, what did he say? I had to create this story?
If I have to create stories.
So he had to create this cat meme story that would be all cute if it was just Donald Trump saying that people are eating dogs and cats.
There he is with cats
and
again.
They're doing remixes. He's obsessed with cats. But unfortunately, and you hear religious leaders talking about this, you hear local officials in Springfield talking about this. There is now the threat of violence, the fear of violence.
Bomb threats.
Bomb threats against people in Springfield.
They have literally had to close the schools and cancel town hall meetings because of these threats. And when you look at the fact that he is now admitting they made up a story, as you say, quoting him, that the media wouldn't cover. Maybe the media didn't cover it because there was no story. It didn't exist. But again, this is consistent with Trump's campaign. Let's not forget Donald Trump, as president, called Haiti and several African countries S-hole countries. You also have to put into the factor in that if you are someone that is anti-Haitians in Springfield, or coming in to think you're defending the people of Springfield whose pets are being eaten up, any black walking around Springfield looks Haitian. I mean, it is racist. It is a clear threat to people. And just like I denounce whoever's trying to assassinate Donald Trump for whatever reasons, they should denounce the fact that they are inciting nuts to feel that they can go into Springfield and save pets. That's those kinds of jaded thinking is what leads to killings. I did the funerals in Buffalo, New York, of a mass killer that felt he had the right to target blacks. I've been to others and did eulogies. This is dangerous. This is a threat to people. And at the same time we denounce what apparently has happened as a threat to Donald Trump, we should denounce what is apparently a threat to blacks and particularly Haitians in Springfield,
Well, I mean, Donald Trump's doubled down on this lie. He humiliated himself, and just really his own campaign staff horrified, his supporters horrified that he fell for this third-rate internet meme. Eric Erickson, very conservative radio host, was just enraged that people around Donald Trump did not keep, I think he was worried at the time Laura Loomer was spreading these lies to Donald Trump. But he got past the debate, he went on the campaign trail, and he continued the lies, even though he knew they were lies that would put immigrants and refugees in danger. Black, let's be clear, not immigrants from Norway, immigrants from Haiti in danger. And Republican governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, yesterday did what you've been seeing of small business owners and factory workers do, and that is praise the migrant community. In fact, you actually had people running small businesses in Springfield saying this migrant community is the hardest working community we have. These Haitians work harder than people here. They stay at their stations. They work hard. They don't leave early. Everybody is praising how hard these migrants work. And this is the Republican, let me say again, the Republican governor of Ohio praising them for their contributions and dismissing these continued Vance Trump lies against them.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a...
You know, unfortunately, we're not seeing these stories in the mainstream media, and this is very disappointing and destructive. Kamala Harris chose ABC for an interview, and they edited down her word salad answers to make it appear quite concise. Why is it that we're not getting the true story of the status of this country on the mainstream media?
Well, the mainstream media is fully in the tank for Kamala Harris. They are totally united behind trying to stop Donald Trump from returning to the White House. Kamala Harris has a radical ideological record that she doesn't want to talk about, to the extent she says anything, like she now wants to secure the border, or she now supports fracking for oil and gas. It's not a flip-flop. It's not a shifted position. It's a lie, and the media goes along with it. Look at what's happened in the situation in Springfield, Ohio, Maria. You had a town of about 58,000 Americans, and 20,000 Haitian migrants have flooded into that town in recent years. You don't have to think that they're all bad people. You don't have to think that most of them are bad people to understand the severe strain it puts on the community of Springfield. You got Haitians who don't know how to drive causing accidents all around the roads of Springfield. They're flooding emergency rooms and community health centers. So if your kid breaks his arm, good luck trying to find a doctor. The local schools have had to spend more than $400,000 on Haitian Creole translation services alone, money that could have gone for American citizens who wanted new uniforms for the football team, or needed a new playground at the elementary, or needed more bus transportation for the band. These are all entirely legitimate concerns that the people of Springfield have been pleading with their elected leaders in Washington to address. And what does the media want to do? The media wants to attack them, wants to tar them as racists and bigoted and nativists because of reports that Haitians have also been killing ducks or geese from the city pond. Credible, first-hand reports that should be investigated. I don't know if they're true or not, but they shouldn't be used to dismiss all the other very legitimate concerns that the citizens of Springfield have about the illegal immigration that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have unleashed on this country.
Yeah, and it's an important point. We're looking to confirm all of that as well. Senator, it's great to have you this morning. Thank you, sir. We'll be watching your work.
Thank you, Maria. Senator
Tom.
Call me cynical, okay, but is she fact-checking and stopping Tom Cotton going on with the garbage because Dominion voting systems, etc., doesn't want to get sued? Or is she actually trying to represent some type of journalistic integrity? I'll be honest with you, I tend to think when the cameras are off, she probably agrees with everything Tom Cotton has to say, but the cameras are rolling and doesn't want to get sued. Why don't they just say, it's a lie, move on? Simple. How long are they going to carry? Look, Mike DeWine, who's the governor of Ohio, himself has had enough. That's a Republican.
So bottom line is you are asking for federal help. No one was eating any pets in Springfield, Ohio. So what would you say to Donald Trump for bringing up those baseless stories? Is it responsible for a presidential candidate, the former president of the United States, to make those baseless claims?
Look, there's a lot of garbage on the internet. And, you know, this is a piece of garbage that was simply not true. There's no evidence of this at all. And look, here's what we're starting to see.
But I want you to address what you would say. Okay, but I do want you to address what you would say to Donald Trump.
Yeah, there are hate groups coming into Springfield. We don't need these hate groups. I saw a piece of literature yesterday that the mayor told me about from purportedly the KKK. Look, Springfield is a good city. They are good people. They're welcoming people. We have challenges every day. We are working on those challenges. Haitians are culturally, my wife Fran and I have seen this when we've been down in Haiti. The education is prized. So when you look at all of these things, people who want to work, people who value their kids, who value education, you know, these are positive influences on our community in Springfield. And any comment about that otherwise, I think is hurtful and is not helpful to the city of Springfield and the people of Springfield. This is a state on the move. It's a city on the move. These Haitians can be part of this, but there are challenges. And, you know, I've talked to people at the White House. We need additional assistance. I think when you...
Governor, I did let you talk there for a few minutes.
Just a little problem I have this Sunday. Mike DeWine, the governor of Ohio, was on ABC's This Week, once again denouncing the garbage and the rubbish which J.D. Vance and Trump was spreading with regard to Haitian immigrants. well, the pet story is just garbage. It's not true. He said it a few times. What I don't understand, it is very simple for a journalist who is interviewing J.D. Vance or Trump just to, on their phone, have a clip of their fellow Republican denouncing what they're saying. Because he's done it again this morning, but the problem is Trump carries on. And I tend to think that the journalists around J.D. Vance and Trump must be the same people who are. Why are they not confronting J.D. Vance and Trump with a fellow Republican with the words he's saying? Because this story is still spiraling. You have people who literally will sit on their computer, come up with racist, xenophobic, hateful memes. Elon Musk is spreading them on Twitter, and it will carry on until they find the next bit of garbage to make nonsense about. The story could be literally stopped if one journalist had some gumption, had some balls, and says, J.D. Vance, you're lying. That's all they've got to do, is you're lying. But of course, there has to be a level of insecurity. If there isn't one journalist in America who can go up to J.D. Vance and Trump and say, look, here's one of your own people, Mike DeWine, you're a liar. That's quite sad. That's quite shameful, because I think there are people who are probably training to be journalists, who may be working on newspapers, websites, or whatever elsewhere, that are probably better served to be in the position of following Vance and Trump around with the election inbound than those who, well, at the moment, they're clearly not up to doing the job, are they?
I do want to go back to this. You had threats there in Springfield. Hospitals had to close. Schools had to close because of bomb threats. You are a huge supporter of J.D. Vance. He spread this conspiracy. 11 million people saw it on X. Look, is there a connection between threats to your state and what President Trump said and what J.D. Vance is doing online?
I think these discussions about Haitians eating dogs and cats and other things needs to stop. We need to focus on what is important. What is important is that we get primary care health to everyone in a very growing city, that we do other things in regard to housing. These are kind of basic things that we need to do. We need to focus on those and not this discussion about Haitians eating dogs. It's just not helpful. And again, these people are here legally. They're here legally. And they want to work, and they are, in fact, working. And when you talk to the employers, what the employers tell you is, you know, we don't know what we would do without them. They are working, and they are working very hard, and they're fitting in with our native people from Springfield who have been working in this shop or working in this manufacturing company for a long, long time. So that's what we need to focus on. And, you know, this idea that we have hate groups coming in and this discussion just has to stop. We need to focus on moving forward and not dogs and cats being eaten. It's just ridiculous.
Old, weak.
Many don't feel he is fit.
Sick, tired.
Too old to serve.
Stammering, slurring.
He was ranting and raving.
Slipping, forgetting.
And the guy just kept getting confused.
Slow.
Panic has certainly set in.
You know which politician we're talking about, right? Oh, you thought it was about Joe Biden?
Venezuela, it's unbelievable.
Is he all right?
Let's think about some more words. Liar.
I have absolutely no idea who this woman is.
Criminal. Rapist.
I'm here because Donald Trump raped me.
Scammer.
I can say very clearly President Trump is a liar.
Con man. Gross. Vain.
I don't care about you. I just want your vote.
Cruel.
You are a rude, terrible person.
Disgusting. Creep. You know exactly who we're talking about.
You won't have to vote anymore.
Don't you?